Joshua B. Alafia first discovered his love of cinema when his father worked as a projectionist in an art house theater. Acclaimed for self-produced international flicks like Cuba, Joshua represents the next wave of emergent indie cinema.
I like to think of myself as a global filmmaker. I do a lot of work outside the U.S. My beginnings as a filmmaker are really romantic because my father was a projectionist at art house theater, so at a very young age I saw a lot of great films. I remember seeing The Harder They Come when it came out. A bunch of different Fellini films. La Strada hit me really hard as a kid. I was just really mesmerized by the stories. I love being in Brooklyn because I feel like, this is really where the Renaissance is happening. I mean, Brooklyn has more artists than anywhere in the world per capita. There's a lot of great, inspiring other artists of different mediums that inspire me here. I came back here full-time in 1999 from California, where I went to school. I came back kind of on a mission to go to Cuba and shoot my first feature film, which the prequel to my senior thesis in college.
Cuba, esta isla es encantada, para que tú lo sepas. Cuba es la tierra de Shango y Oshun, los tambores y amor. Si tú no me lo crees, yo te lo pruebo.
I went to Cuba in 1993 and really fell in love with the culture. They're coming out of a real deep economic depression. It was just a really open door for me at that time. I was studying at the School of the Arts. It just blew my mind just to see Africa so close, because our interpretation of Africa in the States has been really disconnected because we've lost the language. In Cuba, it's really kind of in the forefront of their culture. It was mind-blowing and really affirmative, and I think really shaped me as an artist and kind of gave me a direction that I wanted to help illuminate the beautiful African spirit that is kind of like the sleeping lion that is here in America. As far as being in front of the camera, directing in front of the camera, that's really like poor man got to do everything kind of just out of necessity. At the time, I could only bring one actor other than myself down to Cuba. I brought a cameraman, a production manager, a sound man, and an actor. I acted in front of the camera and it was very hard. I think it's disconnecting for me. I mean, I like to cameo my films, but starring in my films is really just a function of necessity. I tried, and actually for that film, for Cuba, I had to play it because we were dealing with rituals within the Cuban African mystic traditions that an actor wouldn't be allowed to do if they weren't initiated, and I had been initiated to those things, so I was able to reenact them in a real documentary feel. I think that magical realism kind of plays like a healing and expansive role in culture because it breaks us out of a linear thinking and kind of awakens us to sensitivity to the magic in life. And as African diasporic people, we've gone such a brutal colonization. It kind of stripped away a lot of our mythologies and a lot of our folklore to where it kind of took away a spiritual potential that we had, embodying ourselves. But to tell you the truth, getting Cuba out, I mean, it really hasn't come out yet in the way that it was supposed to. I made some mistakes earlier on in terms of distribution. It's distributed online now through iMovie.com. Cuban Hip Hop All Stars was the first Cuban hip hop mixtape made in a big studio in Cuba. At the time, I was shooting Cuba more, and I remember wanting to cast the producer who made all the beats, Pablo Herrera. He's like, yo, I'm in the studio every day, I can't do it, you know. So he organized a cipher of MCs for me, and I included that in Cuba more. But then years later, the label that made the Cuban Hip Hop All-Stars gave me the tapes to edit a documentary from what they did. I went down and shot and kind of went in a different direction. It's a fun piece, and it was the first documentary on Cuban hip hop. My advice to young filmmakers is really study the form, you know, really study the craft, see as many films as you can see from all over the world, and find your voice, and then do it, you know, make it. Pick up the camera, write, storyboard, and create, you know, and just keep doing it. And don't let a budget stop you.